Hello, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Today's episode is going to be titled, When It Fits the Narrative. In today's society, I've noticed a troubling pattern. People don't seek truth. They seek confirmation. They rally behind narratives not because they're accurate, but because they serve a purpose. That purpose is often self-serving, emotionally comforting, or politically advantageous. Take, for example, a case of an alleged unjust killing. A community may believe the victim was wronged and demand justice. When the state medical examiner releases a report confirming the community's suspicions, that report is celebrated. It becomes a badge of truth, of vindication. The examiner is praised, trusted, and held up as a beacon of integrity. But fast forward a few years. Another death occurs, and this time, the examiner's conclusion doesn't align with the community's expectations. Suddenly, the same authority is questioned. People demand a second opinion, a private investigation. The trust evaporates, not because the examiner changed, but because the narrative did. This reveals a deeper hypocrisy. The state examiner was never truly trusted. They were only useful when their findings aligned with a preferred story. Support was conditional, not principled. Truth was never the goal, confirmation was. This selective loyalty extends far beyond forensic reports. It permeates discussions about social issues, especially in marginalized communities. Consider the topic of fatherlessness in impoverished neighborhoods. It's a real issue, one with deep consequences, but it's often ignored or downplayed. Why? Because acknowledging the lack of fathers might cast the community in a negative light. It could jeopardize sympathy, funding, or political leverage. So the issue is buried until it becomes useful. Then, suddenly, it's spotlighted as a comparison tool to highlight privilege in other communities. This isn't advocacy. It's narrative manipulation. The problem isn't addressed to solve it, it's weaponized to score points. The truth is bent to fit the moment, and the community suffers for it. Narratives are powerful. They shape perception, policy, and public emotion, but they're also dangerous when wielded without integrity. History offers countless examples. During World War II, Nazi propaganda flooded Germany with images, music, and films designed to demonize Jews and Americans. These weren't random. They were calculated distortions meant to control thought. The propaganda didn't just misinform, it rewired morality. It made cruelty seem justified, even noble. That's the power of a well-spun narrative. It doesn't just change minds, it reshapes conscience. Modern examples abound. Consider PETA, the Organization for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. Their public image is built on compassion, yet reports have surfaced of dead puppies found behind their facilities. The contradiction is stark. The narrative says, protect animals. The reality at times says otherwise. When confronted, supporters often deflect. They rationalize, minimize, or deny. The narrative must be preserved, even if the facts crumble. Again, truth takes a backseat to image. Freedom of speech is another battleground. Many claim to champion it, until someone they dislike speaks. Then, censorship becomes acceptable. The principle is abandoned, replaced by convenience. Speech is defended only when it flatters the listener. This isn't commitment to freedom, it's allegiance to comfort. The moment speech challenges a preferred worldview, it's labeled dangerous, offensive, or unacceptable. The banner of liberty is lowered when it no longer serves the tribe. We see this in everyday life. A person preaches community when they need volunteers. They speak of unity, support, and shared responsibility. But when a neighbor struggles and asks for help, they vanish. Excuses replace empathy. The virtue was real until it required sacrifice. This isn't rare, it's common. People wear principles like cloaks, shedding them when the weather changes. They believe in kindness, justice, and truth, but only when those beliefs are convenient. Take the critic of corporate corruption. They rail against tax loopholes, calling them immoral. Yet during tax season, they boast about every deduction their accountant found. The game is the same. They just switch teams when it benefits them. Justice, too, is often conditional. When their group suffers, people demand fairness. They march, protest, and post. But when the same injustice hits a rival group, they smirk. They had it coming, they say. Justice becomes a tool, not a principle. This reveals a deeper allegiance, not to morality, but to narrative. The heart claims righteousness, but the hand serves pride. The story must flatter the self, even if it betrays the truth. Children are often invoked in these battles. Protect the children, they cry, when a book or policy threatens their worldview. But when those same children face hunger, neglect, or lack of health care, the voices fall silent. The concern was never universal. It was strategic. Compassion rises only when it shields the narrative. When suffering doesn't serve the story, it's ignored. The banner of care is lowered, folded, and stored until the next convenient moment. This pattern repeats across ideologies, communities, and causes. It's not confined to one group. It's a human flaw. We crave stories that make us feel good, look good, or win arguments. Data, nuance, and contradiction are threats to that comfort. Narrative bias is the term psychologists use to describe this tendency. We prefer coherent stories over messy truths. We simplify, distort, and cherry-pick to maintain emotional equilibrium. It's not always malicious, but it's rarely honest. Media plays a role. News outlets craft stories that evoke emotion, not clarity. A single victim's tale is spotlighted, while broader statistics are buried. The goal isn't understanding, it's engagement. Marketing exploits this too. Advertisers tell heartwarming stories to sell products. The narrative bypasses logic and taps into feeling. We buy not because of features, but because of resonance. Even in personal decisions, narrative bias creeps in. We choose restaurants based on a friend's story, not reviews. We trust anecdotes over evidence. The story becomes the truth. To resist this, we must ask hard questions. What facts are missing? What perspectives are ignored? What emotions are being manipulated? Truth demands discomfort. It requires us to challenge our own stories. We must seek data, not just drama. We must engage with diverse sources, not just echo chambers. We must reflect on our emotions and ask, are we being principled or just protective? Integrity isn't easy. It means defending truth even when it hurts. It means holding allies accountable and listening to enemies. It means choosing consistency over convenience. In a world addicted to narrative, truth is a rebellion. It's not flashy, comforting, or popular, but it's necessary. Without it, justice becomes a costume, compassion a performance, and principle a prop. So the next time you hear a story that flatters your worldview, pause. Ask yourself, is this truth or just a tale I want to believe? That moment of reflection might be the most honest thing you do all day. Anyways, thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Signing out. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye for now.